So if you're watching this video, you have been encountering some issues regarding your meditation practice. You feel like you are just not making progress, or you may have just started and you actually can't find any of the peace that you're looking for, and any of the satisfaction that you would hope you could get, right? So let's talk about what's important. I'm gonna say something here that you might think it's kind of controversial, especially if you have been watching too many meditation videos, or you know, I don't know. I have never read Eckhart Tolle, but I would think that he is a very proponent person for being in the present moment. And I am too, but sometimes we find ourselves in our lives so entrenched into our own problems and our own worriness that we can't simply be in the present moment. Is not something that happens naturally at that specific moment. You may have even experienced some glimpses of what it is to be in the present moment, and to be in a state of surrender where you don't have to care about anything. But again, if you're watching this video, the probability is that you are facing some issues. And I am going to say this without trying to be as less cliche as possible. First of all, it's so good, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. You may already know that, but it's good to remember that. Everybody is having their own process. Everybody is learning to navigate this and to learn for themselves what actually is to spiritually evolve, if you could say like that, not in the sense of comparison, but to simply be or meet who you really are deeper and deeper day by day, right? And again, in the middle of this process, you may find yourself having difficulty being in the present moment. You may feel down. You may feel like your frequency is not high enough to experience that type of surrender. And so there's a couple things that we can do to solve this issue, which again is not really an issue, but let's use language to describe words and sentences and meanings and concepts, right? Okay, so if you feel like your vibration or your frequency is not being a good foundation for higher, let's say, more refined attainments in terms of your consciousness, you know what you have to do, right? You can eat more light, simply as that. Or, again, you can eat whatever you want, but you know that you're gonna face the consequences of eating heavy food. It's just what it is. It makes our body heavy. And again, we can have a place for that in our lives for some time. But if you feel like that is not something that is aligned with the current version of you, might be worth just letting that go. You can come back to it later, but just experience it to see what's like, right? Use your intuition to see what is it that your body needs at this time. And yeah, so that's a good example of how you can, let's say, practically raise your vibration in a practical level. That's what I'm saying. Now, if even making your vibration higher, making your body more lightweight, I'm not talking about weight here I'm talking about that feeling of lightness, okay, that you have when you eat more nutritious and fresh foods, okay. Now let's go to the other subject, which is this. If even doing your practice, you may do yoga, you may do meditation, you may try to do meditation, if even then you feel like you are restless, you feel like you cannot stop thinking about stuff, well, maybe you can try to willingly direct the energy of your thoughts. And what do I mean by that? So there are some perspectives here. One of the angles is that, there's no willingly really. You, whatever you do, it's gonna be the mind doing. There's that perspective, but I don't feel like that's helpful. I don't feel like that uh, leads you anywhere, right? So one thing that you could try to do is realize that you are in a thinking mode, okay, and you cannot stop that. So you need to basically engage in activities that will basically bring some channeling into your mind. It will not let your mind run crazy, okay. And this is very good when you are thinking a lot, and you willingly try to stop it by meditation. What you're actually doing is you're resisting what currently is, right? So the idea is that you have a lot of this energy in your mind, and it's running around. It's literally electricity running around in your brain, and that is, I don't know how the brain works, but some people say it's an antenna. So think about it. If your antenna is like super highly charged with some kind of chaotic energy or unbalanced energy, it's gonna bring a lot of thoughts, a lot of patterns, a lot of, I don't know, it's gonna bring up a lot of stuff too. And this is your cue, right? It's like your mind, through very casual at first glance thoughts, is bringing to your awareness certain stuff that you may or may not want to deal with, right? And so at this point, man, if you're feeling really overwhelmed with everything, you can just grab a pen and paper, and just write it out, write it all out. It may not even make sense what you're writing. Just do it. Start drawing or writing words. Start writing your feelings, what you're thinking about, even if it sounds crazy. Write down your most crazy shit. Because what you are doing when you do that is you're bringing awareness, you're bringing perspective to things that were only inside you, and now they are outside you. You are externalizing, you're expressing yourself. When you do that, all that energy that was inside your mind is out there now. You have put it all out. Once you do that, and you get used to do that, you may find that it becomes very easy to actually meditate. It becomes easy to surrender. Because now all that energy that was inside you running the show is now gone. It's now dissipated. It's now quiet. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. See you next video.